Продолжаем играть в вампира. Так. Все равно не понимаю, какого черта у меня такой балкон фиговый. Ладно. Походу у меня 7 уровень. Угу. Чё? Какая-то записка. Понял. Понял, не понял. Мне без разницы. Пробирки всякие. Так, что я создать могу? Могу создать вот эту штуку, могу сделать вот эту штуку. Не могу эту сделать штуку. Мне бы вот эту создать, наверное. Ага, 2 штуки максимум только могу сделать. А кровь может устанавливать, но это мне пока не надо. Ладно, по заданию, что мне надо? Поговорить с Эдгаром нужно и допросить Гвинет. Гвинет. Допросить Гвинет. Где тут задание, блядь? На какую кнопку задания? Вот это задание, да? Основное задание. Меню горожан. Так, изучить. Выполнено. То есть у меня сейчас второе идет. Поговорить с Эдгаром. А как мне не основное задание взять? То и посмотреть. Основное. Как мне не основное задание, блядь. Ладно. Дороти. Доктор. Допросить Гвинет. Допросить сам. Неизвестно. Короче, давай-ка я сейчас поговорю со всеми, узнаю всех здесь, а потом уже буду дальше проходить всю эту фигню. Вот неизвестное. Так, здорово.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon?
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
Она либо бредит, блин, либо я не понимаю, что происходит. Ладно, вы вампир.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of pustulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
Мне тебя жаль, бабище.
I'm assuming you must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
It was such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's minds, you see?
Такая долбанутая баба, я не хочу с тобой
I'll
разговаривать.
leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Так, ты Томас. Я с тобой уже говорил, да? Потом поговорю с тобой. Что тут еще? Вот какая-то бабища, сестра есть. Где она? Здесь что ли?
It's locked.
Эх, сколько много текста. Новая подсказка. Собирается уволиться. Пипа. Биба и Боба, блин.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet.
А, вот это она и
My
есть.
name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
Так, поинтересуемся.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
Why is Milton grumpy on a daily basis? Is it just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Неважная репутация у Милтона.
Why does Milton dislike?
I don't know. Just ask him.
Так. Тут
How would you
чё?
describe his situation?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc among...
You must get a hold of yourself, nurse.
Бля.
You
Случайно
must get a hold
пропустил.
of you.
Да
You
ёпта!
must get a hold of yourself, nurse.
Не буду, короче,
Sorry.
пропускать
I'm
текст.
exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
Да не беспокойся, будет нормально.
How long have you been a nurse?
Or long enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
Прекратите жаловаться.
You'd be surprised what dedication can achieve, Nurse Hawkins. In medicine, sometimes we're just a test result away from a miracle.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
Так, личный вопрос, что там есть?
Pepper, are you sure you want to leave this hospital?
To become a nurse was a little girl's dream. But in the end, I don't feel that useful. I want more. I want to make things change.
But you're doing something important here. For all the patients who need your help.
We save lives, sure. Each time we send a cured patient home, it's a relief beyond words. But since the epidemic, I feel so powerless.
Так. Чувствую себя беспомощной в борьбе с эпидемией. Осталось еще 2. Нифига, сколько опыта я могу получить с нее. Ну окей.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Тут мы поговорили, теперь нужно идти. Вот этот чел какой-то хмурый, пойдем к нему. Подожди, а как мне к нему подойти-то хоть? Пипа. Ну ты какая? Так, а где он, блядь? Он на улице, что ли? Доктор.
Thelma Howcroft said she was being watched by vampire hunters. Where are they hiding? I should investigate.
Ты какой-то...
I'm sorry you ended up on my plain and cold medical bench, sir. I understand you must be very angry about this unfair situation. I managed to arrange to have you buried in the same mass grave as your wife. I hope that might help.
Что-то у него сердце как-то сильно бьется, я что-то не понимаю.
It's locked.
Так, а я могу как-нибудь туда забраться?
I'm sorry you ended up on my plain and cold medical bench, sir. I understand you must be very angry about this unfair situation.
It's locked, all right.
I managed to arrange to have you buried in the same mass grave as your wife. I hope that might help.
It's locked, all right.
Мне бы понять, как мне взламывать, если тут вообще такое возможно. Ладно, короче, я не успел с ним поговорить, он там что-то какую-то херню говорит. А так я ничего не могу сделать, не прыгнуть, ни хрена. Ну ладно, тогда поищем другого человечка. Тут что у нас находится? Смятое письмо. Милтон вымогает деньги у некоторых пациентов в больнице. Вот это мне не нравится, потому что там кто-то вымогает что-то. Ну, я чем лучше там, блядь, тут все ворую постоянно. Надо этого Милтона найти, блядь, дебила. Ладно. Это чё? Так, Дороти. Вот это неизвестен. Здорово.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed? Yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
Что-то мне не нравится он.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
You are going to change your tone with me, my dear colleague, and very quickly.
I don't think so. Perhaps you think yourself protected by Dr. Swansea, but I am still a free man, and I will speak to you the way I want.
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, but over time his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
Так. Блядь, имена и фамилии, блядь, я не могу. Короче, этот челик не одобряет современных методов медицины. Окей.
Tell me, Waverly, what do you think of Dr. Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives for pride and glory. Now that, sir, is unethical.
Are you thinking about something in particular?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick to the usual procedure, but my young colleague obviously disagrees.
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
If you are going to lead this surgery, I'm trusting you to assume the consequences of your actions, whatever the result.
I'm not the kind of man who runs away from his responsibilities, Dr. Reed. There is no need for you to be looking over my shoulder.
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to let my personal feelings affect my judgment.
Так, служба в армии.
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd. I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
This is ridiculous. My blood transfusion technique saved many lives, and you know it.
You see? That is exactly what I hate about people like you. You avoid this kind of accusation instead of facing reality.
Так,
Thank you for your
хорошо.
time. We'll talk later.
Так. Значит, тут еще есть две подсказки для этого человека. Окей. Идем дальше. Кто тут еще есть? Вот неизвестный. Так, я
Good
с
evening,
ним
Mr.
говорил,
Doc.
конечно. О,
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
еще одна подсказка надо.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick, unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army. Building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
How are your children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
Печально, конечно, слышать это. Но мне нужна еще одна подсказка.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
Ты же там можно было миносмотр какой-то сделать, подождите. Ничем не болеет. Секунду.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Медосмотр.
Is there anything else that's bothering you? Can I help in any way?
I'm all right. Considering the state of this place, I should consider myself lucky, I guess.
Подробнее. Он здоров.
Goodbye for now.
Окей. Так, дальше. Кто тут еще у нас есть? Доктор. Ничем не болеет, ничем не болеет. Мне нужно... Вот еще какой-то челик. Так, здравствуйте. Так, сначала с ним поговорим.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I help at all?
No,
Really? Why are you here then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And no.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer. Mortimer Goswick.
Так, болезни. Нажмите Е. Так. Переутомление у него. У меня есть средства от переутомления.
Do you need any help?
I'm afraid I may, sir. I don't mean to be a burden.
Так, давайте дадим лекарство.
You are not a burden, sir. Healing you is my responsibility.
And you have my gratitude for that.
Так, хорошо. У нее вот идет восстановление. Тут что? Ага, понял. Поинтересоваться жизнью в Лондоне. Посмотрим, что тут у него.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
Тогда лучше с ним поговорить потом, если у него горло болит. Вот он восстановится, тогда я с ним поговорю. Если, конечно, так возможно будет. А не он будет всегда, блядь, с таким горлом.
I'll let you get some rest then.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Потом с ним поговорим. Так, бабища,
Good
ты чё?
evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
Так, опять подсказки нужны.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover any needed medical expenses.
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
Так, понятно.
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice, considering the state of emergency.
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
Waste your time with me.
Опять Пипа. Понятно.
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
Так, подсказок нет. Ну и ладно. Что я тут могу? Значит, он выздоравливает, а восстановление... А когда оно, кстати... Нет потери крови, восстановление. Когда оно восстановится, я хрен знает. Так, доктор, Харви. Окей, тут что? Дороти. Так, ты кто? Доктор. Вон там какой-то чел неизвестный. Пипа, давай с ним поговорим. Спросим, что за херня.
Good evening, Nurse Hawk.
Good evening, Doc.
Так. Тут такого нет, да? Я бы на нее напиздел немного. Какого хрена? Такое происходит. Так, Тельма. Шон. Вот это еще какая-то бабища неизвестная. Это к ней, да? Получается. К ней нельзя, что ли, прийти? Или она находится где-то здесь? Блин, что-то я не понимаю ни хрена. Что это было? Даже не понял, о чем встал.
Must I wait, damn it? Blaming me will not further your agenda, sir. How long's it going to take to fix me properly? A month? A year? You have the right to disapprove of our methods, and you will kindly apologize when you're feeling better.
Подожди, а что это было тогда? Извините. Окей. Вот этот челик. У них сердце бьется почему-то.
It's locked. Very angry about this unfair situation. I managed to arrange to have you buried in the same mass grave as your wife. I hope that might help.
У него бьется очень сильно сердце, значит, я не знаю, вот, как мне зайти, как мне что сделать, я ни хрена не понимаю. А если я выйду отсюда? Здесь я не могу ничего сделать. Окно я не могу открыть. Что это за хуйня? Что это, блядь? Вот как это происходит.
You don't mind if I search your pockets, do you, sir? You won't need any of these.
Вот оно чё.
I'm not stealing from you, mister.
Конечно, конечно.
I'm only redistributing your belongings to people who need them more than you. You see, no one has claimed your body, sir, so it would be such a shame to bury you with your valuables. I will not forget you, sir. And I thank you for your generous donation.
Я понял. Итак, подсказка есть. Обкрадывает мертвых в своем попечении. Надо с ним поговорить.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague? Are you a doctor too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
Торговать могу с ним.
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses?
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have a respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
Так, Ракеш не боится смерти после службы военным врачом. Окей.
How did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
Конечно. Так, давай сейчас поторгуем с ним, посмотрим,
Please
что
show me
он там.
what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful.
Так, продать я могу чем? Вот это могу продать. Хотя, блин, я даже не знаю, может лучше просто это на части разбирать. 15, ты где-то грабеж, бля, ты чё, сука? А тут прям все можно разобрать на части. Ладно, пока я не буду у него ничего покупать. Давай-ка личные вопросы зададим. Так.
A pawnbroker. I expect you get all types of people here.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind of goods.
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And all my clients are good people. In fact, I think I only know good people.
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade, I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life, and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
So you're ready to die?
No, I am not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidana.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man. But I like to think otherwise.
How dare you steal from the dead, Rakesh? Is that what your pawnbrokers is really about?
These people are dead, sir. What they possessed could be useful for the living. And I'm sure they would agree if they could speak.
Я бы тебя загипнотизировал, суку такую.
You may be right, but you'll go to jail if you're caught.
If ever I have to go to jail, I'm sure I'll find a way to help people there, too.
Гипноз я не могу никакой сделать. Ну, здоровый. Ладно. Эх, ладно, пока я с ним ничего не смогу сделать. Загипнотизировать не могу никак. Так, что у нас тут еще есть? Докторы всякие. Пипа, Боба, Томасы всякие, неизвестное бабища. Вот они опять, смотрите. Может, мне просто надо как-то обойти это все. Вот, например, тут был проход. Во.
How can I be sure I'll not find your unconscious body in the house again?
I promise you, you'll not find my unconscious body.
For God's sake, how can you say such a thing?
How can you refuse to listen? I tried to warn you for so long.
No, I won't let my only son die. You promised me you'll stay alive.
Your son lied to you, like the whole world lies to us.
Не понял. Хотел покончить с собой. Понятно, почему у него все так хреново. Так, ты кто? Неизвестно. Здорово. Можно с тобой попиздеть? Никак? Ну, спи тогда. Так.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm new here.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hooks, the ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war, and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have something for you.
How is the situation around here?
You want to hear the situation is all right? It's fucking awful. We lack everything, and it's getting worse every day.
So what do you do exactly in this hospital? Apart from smuggling guns, I mean.
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess. I bring sick people here night and day. It's a dirty job, but I get it done. Most of the time.
Since you're on the front line, how is the sanitary situation in this vicinity?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to enter some streets or buildings. Even the locals attack you.
It sounds like things have been a bit rough recently. What's happened?
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing here. I escaped through the hospital's garden, but I lost my wallet when I was running.
You left an infected patient outside the hospital? That's incredibly dangerous.
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor. I'd rather not bring your dead body back.
Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know. And by gang members willing to steal my money.
But you're not defending yourself. You're selling guns to civilians.
You keep people alive your own way, Doctor. I offer them another way to protect their health.
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reed.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Underage girls and boys sold to all manner of perverts.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words. So excuse me if I don't look on the bright side of life.
Так.
Do you know that Nurse Hawkins is thinking of leaving the hospital?
That's not a surprise. We've talked about it already.
Does it not bother you?
Sometimes I think she may be right. We should run away while we can. Question is, where can we go? Where is it safe?
Tell me why you're extorting money from some of the patients here.
If a patient wants a bed, he'll have to pay me a little fee. That's all.
Where did you get the idea for such an immoral scam?
Funny you should ask. The first time it was from a patient who bribed me to get a bed. It's only then I realized I could make a fortune.
Конечно.
I have some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet with all the money and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin color that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut.
3000 опыта, блядь, дадут. Пипа и Милтон вместе. И то 2000 опыта. Короче, все. Максимальный опыт я могу... Мне бы только вот чуть больше вот этого, чтобы я мог их загипнотизировать. И заебись. Так, что ты можешь?
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Так, это что? Дробовик. 315 стоит. Части какие-то. Но... Ладно. Ничего пока не буду с ним делать. У меня 560 опыта. Так. Вот еще неизвестный кто-то. А, ну да, окей. Надо быстро дойти до своей комнаты, там посмотреть, что я могу вкачать. А я еще вроде... Или там был уже? Что-то я немного забыл. Так, это я могу открыть? А так стоит тут, блин, выделяется очень, но походу сейчас я ничего не могу с этим сделать. Так. Сверхъестественно. Так, ярость, бездна, котел. Теневая завеса, укусы, организм, наука, саквояж врача, больше сывороток, увеличенные патроны, пикирование, это неплохо было бы. Я бы здоровье себе увеличил. Блин, не то. Ладно. Там какая-то точка стоит, я не знаю, чё, куда, но... Вот это что? Это мой маркер, что ли? Я его случайно создал? Ладно. Так, события какие-то, убежища. Я могу просто погулять по этому всему, но это я не буду делать. Давайте лучше миссию повыполняем. Только сначала я хочу попробовать все равно кого-нибудь загипнотизировать. Вот, тут 3, тут неизвестно. Томас Эллиот. Шон. Блин, подождите. 3, 2, 4. Вот 1. Давайте я к нему подойду. Что я с ним могу сделать?
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Я могу его загипнотизировать. Допустим. Если это сделаю у всех на глазах, то что будет такое? Пойдем мы его немножечко того. Это не типа показывает, куда лучше его вести, да?
All I wanted was to go back to work, to take care of my children.
Я понимаю, но Рэм пострадает в результате от ваших действий. А я и не говорил, что я буду хорошим. Я не говорил.
Come now, we can handle this.
Раз уж я стал вампиром, хоть и наш главный герой был врачом, спасал людей, я это я. Я буду по-своему играть. Так, вкачаем что-нибудь себе. Одно попадание получается здесь. Стоит. Окей, испробую потом эту штуку. Это стоит 2000, у меня 700 только. Окей, Я стал немного жирнее, и теперь я могу поглощать больше крови.